Here's a strange truth about loneliness. It has almost nothing to do with how many people are around you. You can feel completely at peace alone on a quiet Sunday morning. And you can feel achingly, hollowly lonely in the middle of a party, surrounded by friends. So loneliness isn't really about being alone. It's a signal, the same kind your body sends when you're hungry or thirsty or cold. An alarm telling you something you need is missing. And once you understand it that way, the whole question changes. It stops being, how do I make this feeling go away? And becomes something far more useful. What is this feeling actually trying to tell me? John Cacioppo spent his whole career studying loneliness. He's probably the most important researcher there ever was on it. And his core insight is this: loneliness is an ancient survival alarm. For almost all of human history, being cut off from your group wasn't sad, it was lethal. Alone, you couldn't get enough food. You couldn't sleep safely. You couldn't survive a predator or an injury. So evolution did what it does. It made isolation hurt. Hurt badly enough that you'd be driven to fix it to get back to the group before the separation killed you. Here's the problem. That same Stone Age alarm is still installed in you, firing in a world where being alone in your apartment isn't actually dangerous. The wiring is ancient. The environment is brand new. And the mismatch is exactly where modern loneliness lives. Now here's the part of Cacioppo's research that genuinely changed how I think about lonely people. Loneliness doesn't just feel bad. It rewires how your brain reads other people. When you're lonely, your brain shifts into a kind of threat detection mode. It starts scanning for rejection. It reads neutral faces as cold. A slow text reply becomes proof they don't care. A canceled plan feels like abandonment. And do you see the trap that creates? The lonelier you get, the more your brain distorts the social world into something hostile, which makes you withdraw, which makes you lonelier still. It's a spiral that feeds itself. So when you meet someone who seems prickly, guarded, hard to connect with, hold this in mind. That might not be who they are. That might be loneliness wearing them like a coat. We treat loneliness like a mood. The research treats it like a medical condition, and it's right to. Chronic loneliness raises cortisol, your main stress hormone. It increases inflammation throughout the body. It disrupts sleep at the architectural level. Over years, it's linked to faster cognitive decline and higher rates of heart disease and stroke. The mechanism isn't mysterious. Loneliness is a sustained, low-grade stress signal that never fully switches off, and chronic stress slowly wears down every system it touches. I think this is the part most people never hear, and most need to. The ache of loneliness isn't just in your head, asking to be ignored or toughed out. It's in your bloodstream. Your body is keeping the score. And that's not a reason for shame. It's a reason to take the feeling as seriously as you take any other vital sign. But let's be careful here, because there's a flip side that matters just as much. Being alone is not the problem. Solitude, time alone that you actually chose, is one of the healthiest things there is. It's where creativity happens, where you process your life, where you come back to yourself. The entire difference between solitude and loneliness comes down to one word: choice. Alone and grounded by your own decision, that's solitude, and it heals. Alone against your wishes, or unseen in a crowd you didn't choose to feel invisible in, that's loneliness, and it wounds. And here's a finding that flips the usual assumption completely. People who are comfortable being alone tend to be better at relationships, not worse. The ability to sit peacefully with yourself isn't the opposite of connection. It's often the foundation of the healthiest kind. So if you're in it right now, what actually helps? Here's what the research is clear about, and it's probably not what you'd guess. More social contact on its own barely moves the needle. You can add a dozen surface interactions and still feel just as alone. What works is depth, even a little of it. One interaction where you feel genuinely seen does more than 50 where you're just present. And remember that cruel spiral, where loneliness makes you read everyone as a threat. The way out runs straight against it. It means gently, deliberately, risking the assumption that someone might actually be glad you showed up. The thing that pulls people out of loneliness isn't a bigger crowd. It's a single moment of being truly known, and the small, brave willingness to let that happen. If you take one thing from this, let it be this: loneliness is not a character flaw, and it's not a verdict on whether you're worth knowing. It's an ancient signal, doing its job in a world it wasn't built for. Understanding that won't make it vanish, but it can replace the shame with something far more useful, a clear, gentle understanding of what your own body is asking for. The final video in this series is the practical one. How to actually build deep connection as an adult, step by step, when all the easy structures of youth are gone. Subscribe. This is Mind.